Love him or hate him, if Josh Hart's on your roster, you're absolutely going to enjoy it. He trolls anybody. He tries to recruit everyone, especially his former Villanova guys. Look at Dante DiVincenzo. That's especially true of Mikal Bridges. Now, even though the Knicks just beat down the Brooklyn Nets, after the game, Josh Hart revealed something about Mikal Bridges. Oftentimes, we don't know what happens behind closed doors with those guys. We don't know what they talk about. We don't know their feelings. But Josh Hart may have just revealed exactly how Mikal Bridges feels about Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Jalen Brunson finding success with the Knicks, and Mikal Bridges doing what he's doing with the Brooklyn Nets, which is not really anything. We're going to break down exactly what Josh Hart said and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Josh Hart savagely trolls Mikal Bridges. Now, if you know anything about Josh Hart, if you've watched him throughout his career, this is nothing new. Josh Hart, if you put him on a winning team in a winning environment and he beats your team and he knows you, he is absolutely going to troll you. And that's exactly what happened recently when the Knicks beat down the Brooklyn Nets. He did it to Mikal Bridges. And you know what they say about trolling, right? It has to be funny, of course, but it has to be tied to some type of truth. All of these guys are friends. They have dinners together. They talk behind closed doors. We don't know what's said. So anytime any one of them addresses the situation, addresses how one of them feels, you have to look at it and you have to take it into account. Even if it's trolling by Josh Hart, let's take a look at exactly what he said about Mikal Bridges. As you can see here, shout out to Bleacher Report as well, too, for reporting the following. Josh Hart trolls Mikal Bridges. Hart uses a viral Spongebob meme to sum up Bridges' time in Brooklyn. Kristen Winfield from the New York Daily News also covered this as well, too. And this is what Hart stated about Mikal Bridges. Kristen Winfield notes, this is a brutal quote from Josh Hart on Mikal Bridges, who has lost to the Nova Knicks again. It's like that SpongeBob meme when Squidward is looking out the window and he sees SpongeBob and Patrick having fun. Mikal is Squidward. You know what makes this troll even worse? When it's paired with the following observation from New York Daily News NBA insider Kristen Winfield. Not to mention Brooklyn's cornerstone Mikal Bridges sporting a perpetual sad face after Nets losses, while his former Villanova teammates Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo are headed to the playoffs. Josh Hart is an absolute savage. If you don't know the meme he's talking about, let's show you real quick. It's this one. Wait, hang on. Let's make it more modern for you guys. There you go. That's a little bit better. So as you can see there, you got Mikal Bridges as Squidward, and then you got Jalen Brunson as SpongeBob and Josh Hart as Patrick. Now, if you maybe could include Sandy in here, that would probably be Dante DiVincenzo. Either way, what I'm trying to say is Josh Hart savagely trolled Mikal Bridges. But I think it comes from some place of truth, because you got to wonder, you got to think, Mikal, seeing everything happening in New York with the New York Knicks, how good the New York Knicks look, how much they're winning games, the fact that they're playoff bound, and then he's across the bridge with the Nets. He has no idea what they're doing. They're going around and round in circles. Just fired their head coach. They have no draft picks to speak of. They're trying to figure out how to build around Mikal Bridges, and that doesn't seem like they have any route in sight. So all of this is leading to a fact where Mikal Bridges clearly looks sad, that he's donning sad faces at the end of Knick games, because not only did he lose, but now he has to watch his friends, some of his best friends, go off to the playoffs and do something impactful, significant, while he's in Brooklyn, not understanding what's next for him or for his team. What are the Brooklyn Nets going to do next for him? What are they going to do as a team, as a franchise? How do they move forward? How do they get better? The Knicks don't have any of those questions. The Knicks right now look like legit contenders. They're playing like legit contenders, even though they're missing some of their key players, missing OG Anunoby, missing Julius Randle, missing Mitchell Robinson, and still beating teams, still blowing out teams, still dominating teams. And then when they get those players back, Once they're fully healthy, the league better watch out because the Knicks are going to be unstoppable. But one main reason I wanted to speak about the trolling Josh Hart did to Mikal Bridges is because I believe it comes from a place of truth. You don't mention things like this if you haven't spoken about it inside your group chats, inner circles, at dinners, or something like that. I'm sure it comes up a lot. And this is exactly the meme that probably comes up as well, too. Maybe not this exact image, but it's either this one or it's this one. Either way, you can't go wrong with either because they signify the same thing. Mikal Bridges wishes he was a New York Knick. He was in the right place in New York with the Knicks, the right team in New York with the Knicks, with his boys, his friends, with Jalen, with Dante, with Hart. Everybody knows it. You can see it during games, before games, after games, when he's asked about it, when he talks about it. The look on his face, his expression says everything. He wishes he was part of the New York Knicks. He wishes he could be part of this team. He wishes he could be playing with his boys right now. Unfortunately, he can't, at least right now. And I know his trade value is basically untouchable, at least according to the Brooklyn Nets organization. They were not willing to accept even 4 first-round picks for him. So if that's the case, that's basically stating we're not going to trade him. He's untouchable. So maybe this is not worth mentioning. However, the Knicks own all of their first-round picks. If Mikal wants to leave Brooklyn, and maybe he decides that the Knicks are the destination he wants to go to, the Knicks have all of the players, all the necessary contracts, and have all the necessary picks as well, too, to pull off a trade of that magnitude. If Sean Marks and the Brooklyn Nets want to play ball and they want to make that trade happen, and maybe Mikal is pushing for it too, the Knicks can definitely do it, and I think they should. Because a backcourt of Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, and then you add the wing of OG Anunoby, that squad alone, and I'm not even talking about the starting center or the power forward at that point in time. I'm just talking about that alone would be monstrous. You are going to dominate teams just with that. Now imagine you're adding a Julius Randle to it. Imagine you're adding an Isaiah Hartenstein or a Mitchell Robinson to it. Because for me, that team sounds damn near untouchable, unstoppable, like you're not going to do anything to them. And I think we've all seen it. Mikal Bridges, even though he can step up and have those big games, have those big moments, he's not somebody you need to look at or you can look at and say he's a number one guy. I don't think he is. But I do think he's a very good role player and a very strong number 3 on a championship team. And I think that's a very good role for him because he plays elite defense. And if you need him to score, he can score. Sometimes he can take over a game, but that shouldn't be his defined role. That's why I think the Brooklyn Nets are making a mistake. They're building around him when I don't think they should build around him. They should find another A1 player, somebody they should build around, and Mikal Bridges supports that player very well. I don't think Mikal is the player you do that with. And if the Knicks can pull off a trade and get Mikal on this team, that would be the move. That is the right trade right now. I forget who said it because there's so many people talking about the Knicks right now. But the Knicks don't really need an all-star level type of player that's going to score a lot and take away shots from the players you want to score. What they need is somebody who can score when you need scoring, but really has high defense. That's their biggest and best skill set. And if that's the player you get under Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks would be even more dangerous than they are right now. Mikal Bridges is that player. You can also switch him with OG Anunoby if you wanted to. That's the crazy part about that type of trade. The Knicks getting Mikal Bridges would be a game changer. They have everything required right now to make that deal happen. But if we're going to take anything from Josh Hart's trolling, the truth that I'm taking from it is that Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Mikal Bridges, during their group chats, during their dinners, they probably talk about this exact same thing. And this tells me that Mikal wishes he was part of this Knicks team and doing what the Knicks are doing right now, making an impact in the Eastern Conference. He likely does not want to be in Brooklyn, but he's saying what he needs to say. He's putting on the brave face. He's smiling, and he's saying all the necessary things he needs to make sure Brooklyn thinks that he wants to be there, he wants to stay there, and he wants to contribute. Because at the end of the day, not saying those things looks bad on him. So publicly, he's never going to say this. But privately, I think Josh Hart just revealed something that we always knew. This meme this trolling, maybe it is trolling, but you know what? I think it comes from an absolute real place. I think it's true, and I think it's only a matter of time before Mikal Bridges comes to this Knicks team. I hope the Knicks can trade for him. I think potentially there's going to be a number of different players on the table for the Knicks to go after. I don't know if Mikal Bridges is going to be one of those stars, but I do know that that star list is not complete yet. We don't know who's going to become disgruntled come this offseason. The offseason has not come here yet. Mikal Bridges can definitely turn into one of those players. And if he does, and he chooses the Knicks as his destination, that's how the stars align for New York and Leon Rose, and that's how you get Mikal Bridges here. Now, the likelihood of that happening, probably 1 out of 10 maybe, but even if it's 1 out of 10, that's not 0, and that's not impossible. And as long as you have a chance, you're always going to make sure you keep your doors open, your phone lines open, and you try to get the deals done if they're available and on the table. Mikal may not be available now. He may be untouchable now, but that doesn't mean he's going to be untouchable later. And who knows what happens then? But the Knicks right now are set up in case anything happens to pounce, strike, and get a player that they covet on this roster. I just hope and pray that that player potentially can be Mikal Bridges. But what about you guys? What do you think about this epic, savage trolling from Josh Hart? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.